Get that gold to the bottom of your pan. Wash out the sand and rock by doing this.
We've got gold fever today on The Express. On today's show,
what is this shiny silver mineral that spread gold fever?
Elementary students celebrate BC's mining industry.
This is called a lamp shell.
I've never actually been to England, but I feel like I'm in England when I come here.
A New West store pays homage to the UK.
I always was collecting things that were interesting.
A tech addict shows us his collection.
We're starting our walk again this year and would love your support like in previous years.
And a local walk helps a global problem.
Thank you for all your efforts, my dear.
See that and more local expression. Welcome to The Express. I'm Melanie Pineda. Up first, we have a profile on an eclectic New West store that serves lunch, tea, British groceries, all in one store. Whether you're an Anglophile, an expat, or even maybe just a fan of British chocolate, Sherlocks or the British store in New Westminster can give you almost anything you'll need from the Commonwealth, even a nice cup of tea.
And everything is from the UK. We got groceries, sweets, we have the soccer paraphernalia, merchandise, and then we have the Union Jack items, giftware, and then we also bring in we make on the premises our own sausages, bacon, pies. Last March, we opened up the tea room area and we do a soup and sandwich on a regular basis and sell the pies and everything baked that morning.
They're nice people, and it's a good place, and the food's tasty. I'm having the steak and kidney pie and the clam chowder, which is possibly the best clam chowder this side of Boston.
Oddly, Sherlock started off as a place for antiques and collectibles. Andy still rents out shelves to local sellers, but his main focus is on the treats and the sweets of the empire.
I would say it's the sweets and the chocolate, because the chocolate itself is very different to North American chocolate. It is made with milk, where a lot of the chocolate in North America is made with powdered milk. So that gives it that creamier flavor, as well as the cocoa butter itself.
In addition to the storefront, the collectibles, the tea room, and of course the butcher upstairs, Sherlock's acts as a wholesaler for British products all around Canada. And as you might guess, with the recent royal wedding, anything from the UK is highly sought after.
And now I've just talked to my supplier, and they've got now the after-wedding pictures. So now they're running along with these lines of them kissing on the balcony or the carriage or coming through the church. So there's that aspect coming on. So I don't think it's going to end.
I've never actually been to England, but I feel like I'm in England when I come here. It's a good place to discover.
I'm Erin Shaw in New Westminster for The Express. Sherlock's is so popular, they now have a thriving online store. Everything from British spices to jams, all with an ode to the UK. Today we're celebrating a public event here at the Vancouver Art Gallery. It's the 4th annual BC Mining Week Community Fair.
I think it's exciting. It's fantastic to have 300 kids out today. They're all learning about minerals and metals and what they're used for and why it's important.
Well, sled, I think, carved into these little pieces. We've learned about the different jobs in underground mining, process engineers and gemologists and geologists, and we're trying to learn more with hands-on things.
They're learning everything from what geologists do when they explore for minerals, how they drill into the earth, how they can pan for gold in streams, about how mines are developed using technology, because as a society we are completely dependent on these natural resources.
Some of the jobs that they could get as they get older, and some of the training that they'll need, and it just puts little things into their minds that mining would be part of their life, and how important products made from a mine are.
I really like how the rocks and minerals are formed, and just everything about it. It's really fun.
I think to be, conscientious citizens and take responsibility for our consumption of mineral resources.
You know, the sector itself in BC is having a big rebound. We have a modern-day gold rush happening in British Columbia. So although these children may not become necessarily geologists or engineers or scientists, what have you, but it's important that they understand the value of minerals and what they're used for.
And it's also an excuse to play in the rain.
Absolutely. We're in Vancouver, it's British Columbia. We have to enjoy the rain with everything else.
What do you expect, right? It's all good.
Guys, I find fool's gold, I find real gold.
Later in the show, we pan for gold with Yukon Dan. But up first, 3 decades of high-tech gadgets, courtesy of Microsoft's principal researcher.
From the charmingly familiar to the freakishly obscure, this is a Gadget Geek's paradise.
It's a really interesting group of interactive objects, and they really span a really wide time frame.
Try 35 years, all sorts of gadgets that boggle the mind, like a chessboard that can play itself. A calculator watch the size of, well, a calculator, and this keyboard designed for one hand.
Think about keyboard, it's something flat, but actually you can lift up your finger, have more buttons to press. It's very impressive.
So where did all this stuff come from? This guy, chief researcher at Microsoft, Bill Buxton. He's been collecting tech tools for years as a way to inspire himself and future innovators.
The country, and you find it. I always was collecting things that were interesting so I could use them. And from the experience I gained, turned that into making a next generation.
This collection is really about the history, the rich history that we've been through, and understanding the history so that we can both understand how we've gotten here, but also how we get into the future and how we continue to develop these technologies.
One example is this radio designed by Dieter Rams in 1958, which looks very much like the classic iPod, for good reason.
Jonathan Ive is the designer at Apple, the head of design, who designed this. And Dieter Rams is one of his heroes. And he knew all of the work that Dieter Rams had done.
The same goes for these tablet PCs that were invented at least 15 years before the first iPad. They're all products that were ingenious, but failed for one reason or another.
The reason for the failures was often something that had nothing to do with the technology of interest. It might have just been, for example, the person who ran the company was a really bad business person.
And so today, many of them sit here, roughly 200 gadgets, each of them useless, until the next bright mind picks one up and gets inspired all over again. I'm Tim Chung in Vancouver for The Express.
And the reason why Bill Buxton kept all that electronic junk, according to him, he's just bad at throwing stuff out. There's lots more coming up. Stay with us here on The Express. After the break,
we're starting our walk again this year and would love your support like in previous years.
The World Partnership Walk.
The 2011 Distinguished Entrepreneur of the Year Award.
And big recognition in Victoria for the Shaw family.
It's because of everyone that's done the job and everyone that's worked so hard.
You're watching local TV on The Express.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by...
The Express is brought to you in part by Plum, fashion supplier to host Johanna Ward.